Welcome back to Airmech and welcome back to Chasm. On the red team, we have the TheOnlyG running the signature striker by this point. And on the blue team, we have Nyagaton running the Helix. Oh, and that's what they're starting. They're both going for their first... Should be going for their first power plant, which then will rotate over to the factory, and then probably a mid-fight over here if neither of them go for a sneaky strategy on the other person's facilities. Both going for different ways of clearing. TheOnlyG wants the support from their units, while Nyagaton really doesn't. Gemini's for Nyagaton, and TheOnlyG is going with Longhorns. Nyagaton's going to be a little slower on the capture game here, as TheOnlyG is already rotated to the factory. Nyagaton's going to quickly change focus onto the factory after getting some more energy. TheOnlyG is out of energy right now. Clearing those brutes is harder than you would think. Tanks drop. Nyagaton's going to tank the damage. Level 2 for both players right now. Shooters for TheOnlyG are going to be dropped mid, I'm assuming, to start clearing out these neutrals. Creep is immediately killed, yet the shooters should set up against those neutrals. Yeah, TheOnlyG right now is ahead in the capture game just by a little bit. Has already started to siege this middle. Nyagaton's coming with Gemini's now. Both sides are going to meet in the middle and start soon. The interesting thing about this map is TheOnlyG is going to the factory, the resupply. I feel like it should be the power station. The power station is closer to the center, so it would make more sense to start capturing it. Longhorns out for Nyagaton, running Longhorns and Geminis, while TheOnlyG is focusing solely on Longhorns. Nyagaton hits level 3. TheOnlyG wasn't able to get any XP from those neutrals in the base. Nyagaton going for some damage. Gonna drop a Gatling and some tanks. Longhorn goes down. Artillery's dropped. Another Longhorn will go down. Nyagaton will go down to TheOnlyG. That leaves those units undefended. That Longhorn's low in health. TheOnlyG saves the Longhorn as Nyagaton's on their way back. TheOnlyG now has swung the level lead in their favor. A lot of creeps going into that factory. Tanks for Nyagaton being dropped. Going for a full-on assault, killing everything possible as TheOnlyG goes for the back factory. TheOnlyG now has made a very dire decision there. They better hope that getting this factory is a good position, because they lost their entire army in mid. TheOnlyG's low on income, has less than a third of the army Nyagaton has. Nyagaton's actually going to try to siege the power station. Nyagaton saves the Gatling. Or TheOnlyG saves the Gatling. Nyagaton now pulling back units, trying to heal them up. There isn't much. There's a single Longhorn, but other than that, nothing's really holding this base up here. Nyagaton's going to try to go for TheOnlyG's factory, as TheOnlyG's going to go for the power station. TheOnlyG was not able to clear it in time. The creeps are going to die. They both will lose a base, but the Nyagaton's going to be the one that wins out here, because creeps just have to walk back or he'll fly them there. TheOnlyG now, without a factory here, needs to work out a way to get back control of it. Tesla is going to be dropped on the ledge here. It will start zapping everything here. Gemini's going to start pushing. TheOnlyG's trying to recapture everything. Nyagaton dropping shooters to start clearing this out. Factory's back in TheOnlyG's hand, finishing off a few of those units. Nyagaton is in a much stronger position than TheOnlyG is, because this is going to start to fall. A lot of shooters been dropped. This factory will get back into Nyagaton's control eventually. Few creeps are going to get killed walking past. That's free XP, but is it really worth it? Few Geminis down. Factory goes down. Shooters have been dropped to clear out this factory, which they will clear out. Nyagaton is going full on the power station. Only G is going to clear out some of these shooters. Only G low in health. Going to take a few more shots. Nyagaton didn't react in time. Rebel tanks being dropped. Only G has to fly back. Has lost control of every base. Shooters have entered the factory now, but will be cleared out. Oh, no, they will not be. Sergeants and rebel tanks being dropped. Only G trying to recapture the power station. Nyagaton now has a very firm hold of this game right now. Both of them are fairly broke. Only G coming back with butchers. Gonna drop them to try to clear out some of these rebel tanks. One goes down, but there's more sergeants and more rebel tanks being dropped. The Only G put themselves in a very bad position with that loss of the mid-army. There's not many units on the field. Rebel tank goes down. Single soldier is going to be dropped by it. Gatly's dropped. Only G is going to try to clear this out. Gatly is trying to do damage. Only G will move it so it doesn't die. The Gatly will go down. Going to sacrifice the Gatly to drop the factory. Nyagaton flying back. Has units scattered across the map. None of them are really centralized anywhere. Rebel tanks sitting over there. Shooter clearing out the neutrals up there. The factory will go back into the control of Only G, but Only G needs to drop units quickly. Nyagaton low in health. Tries to fly away. Only G is going to keep advancing. We'll take out Nyagaton. Only G will take back the factory and the power station. There's still Tesla here, though. He will lose the power station. Needs to clear that Tesla out. Nyagaton coming, probably to save that Tesla. No, Nyagaton's actually going to let it fall. Coming with Gatly's sergeants and a rebel tank to try to hold this or retake this base. Gatly's going to take a lot of damage there. The Only G is going to pull it back. Rebel tank will fall. Another Tesla for Nyagaton. Nyagaton's running low in income now. Owns a lot of bases, but Only G is starting to win more and more fights. I think shooters were dropped down here. No, it's just creep reaching it. Nyagaton goes down again, and that time loses a Gatly. Gatly and Tesla will both go down. A grinder has been built. Dropped on the field. Longhorn built by Only G. Nyagaton grabbing creep, probably to drop on the power station again. No, actually gonna drop him around that tank force. Only G to pull that tank back. A grinder's on the field, but there isn't really anything on the map that the grinder can easily get to. Longhorn has to be saved. Gatly and Seeker being dropped to try to keep Only G from helping. Only G is 2 levels up on Nyagaton. Nyagaton low in health has to pull back. Only G low on health flies away just barely before going down. Only G has the levels to get to some higher grade units, but right now only has the grinder on the field. The Only G right now is super focused on holding what they have. Doesn't really want to go for some advantageous plays. Whatever. Grinder might go down. The grinder is barely saved. Nyagaton really wants the grinder dead. Nyagaton low in health. Only G has to grab the grinder or will die. Butchers for Nyagaton. Gonna be dropped from that position. A lot of damage going down on the grinder and Gatly. Longhorn and artillery shooters dropped. The grinder did die. Longhorn and shooter sent on the base. Nyagaton trying to keep the pressure on. Even though Only G had the level advantage, Only G doesn't have the income to back up. Tank buster out for Nyagaton now on the front line. It's faced the wrong way, but if it can get aimed at here, it will help break through. Nyagaton goes down. Goliath for the Only G. Going to be dropped to deal with these units. This will actually kill everything here. Only G is going to help. Nyagaton just respawns. It's going to quickly try to get over here, but it's already too late. All those forces are dead. Nyagaton is starting to lose control of this game. Only G's gonna grab butchers, try to siege this point. Nyagaton actually changed his mind. Will go for the power station, try to kill that tank buster. Tank buster goes down, gets a lot of damage on Nyagaton. Might even knock out the power station. Yeah, power station goes down. Nyagaton quickly grabs more creeps to recapture it. The few units the Only G has is slowly being moved forwards. Building more butchers to try to attack this middle point. The Only G, or Nyagaton, has a tank buster down, rebuilt what they had. Tesla's going to take a lot of damage. Nyagaton trying to clear it out. Only G gets below half health. Nyagaton will pull back. Another tank buster dropped. Really scared of that Goliath pushing forwards. Honeypot gonna be dropped to heal. Unfortunately, the Tesla will kill that Honeypot slowly if there isn't another healing unit. Only G cannot lose that Goliath. That Goliath is what's giving the power right now for Nyagaton not to push in on him. Creeps are moving in to give more free XP to Nyagaton. Only G's gonna fly past. The neutrals up there haven't been dealt with. The neutrals over here have been, so even with that, Nyagaton's still technically behind in level. A little, yeah, by basically a full level. Only G needs to kill like 1 or 2 things and he'll level up again. Nyagaton, Only G dropping shooters everywhere. Nyagaton now pulling stuff back. Killing what they can. Nyagaton has realized there's shooters set up around the map. There's still a single one up here clearing this place out. Kills a rebel tank. Only G flying more over there as Nyagaton's going to keep trying to siege that Goliath. Yep. This factory will fall eventually if Nyagaton doesn't realize. The power station fell. There's a single sniper or shooter over here that hasn't been dealt with. Nyagaton sees it and will clear it out quickly. The Only G is going to commit for trying to steal this. The last shooter just needs to get inside. The shooter was stopped. The other shooters in the back are going to be cleared out. The Mortys are going to start being cleared out. Only G has to pull back. Single shooter was left alive. It's going to die to that Gatly. Power station was recaptured for Nyagaton by the creeps. The Only G was just a little bit slow on trying to go for that capture. Just slow enough that Nyagaton could react. Gatly is being dropped on the high ground to stop the shooters. Mortys have taken the factory. Mortys being dropped to reinforce the factory. Nyagaton low in health. Only G keeping the advantage on. Gatly dropped on the wrong side of the fort, unfortunately. Only G heals up with a little bit of energy. He's going to drop more Mortys. Mortys will die. Nyagaton running low on energy. Only G's going to chase down, but isn't able to kill. Rebel tanks coming out for Nyagaton to make sure he stays control of this. Only G barely gets out, low in health. Middle outpost goes down. The Mortys and creep got behind the army. Nyagaton clears that out. The middle outpost is not in control of Nyagaton anymore. And it won't be for any time soon unless they get some stuff to drop. Factory was recaptured by the Only G. Gatly dropped on the right side now. Only G pulls back more rebel tanks for Nyagaton to react. Mortys from the Only G coming back. The middle, there's only one creep at a time. Morty's randomly moving through the middle. It will get shot down though. Only G, half health, low health. Nyagaton wasn't able to finish him off. One shot would have killed him. Only G gets back, clears that out again. Nyagaton is really starting to lose control of this game. Or has been for a long time, but it's starting to show more and more. As the Only G is going to go for the power station now. The Gatly's still up though. Creeps being dropped. Morty's trying to clear them out, but will die eventually. Only G trying to find a way to gain some ground here. Artillery pounding up here, but it doesn't really matter. Only G has placed his own artillery. There's one artillery piece not firing, I don't think. Yeah, one's not firing. Creeps are going to be dropped on the artillery piece. The TheOnlyG was ready to let it die, trying to keep the harassment up on this factory. Nyagaton has captured the outpost back and now moving units around. Coming with the tank buster, honeypot, and a creep to try to counter this steal. Another Gatling has been dropped. Mortys are being dropped again. Nyagaton's low on health. Will go down to TheOnlyG. TheOnlyG just needs to clear everything out and this factory's his. The creeps though, now with rockets, are doing a lot of damage. He doesn't finish the honeypot off. He could have. His artillery starting to die to the creeps that are moving across. These neutrals should really be dealt with eventually. Second Goliath out for TheOnlyG, starting to move them forwards. Grinder is going to be dropped in the back line. This force is going to start to die. Nyagaton's coming with another tank buster, but that is not enough to hold. The Grinder will go down. Tank buster dropped in between the Goliaths. Seeker and a honeypot are dropped, but that's not enough to hold off the Goliaths. Rebel tanks, Gatley's being dropped. Butchers being dropped. Honeypot will go down. TheOnlyG reinforcing with his own butchers. Nyagaton trying to clear out what they can. Units are falling left and right. The turtle is tanking most of the butcher aggro. Nyagaton trying to clear out what they can. Goliath's still over. One Goliath still over half HP, other one's low. Turtle is about to fall. TheOnlyG does not finish it off. Or Nyagaton. Nyagaton low in health. Has to pull back. TheOnlyG is going for the chase. Will fail. Nyagaton has lost the force in mid. He's going to drop Gatleys to try to retake keep it neutral at least. Artillery being moved forwards. Goliath's being moved to the other side to cover it. Yeah, neutral's going to be fighting, or seeing Creeper going to be fighting up there. That Goliath is going to die quickly if not saved. TheOnlyG just grabbed it in time. Needs to get a generator up if trying to keep that alive, or get more honeypots. Butcher's being dropped on the artillery. Artillery piece will go down. Both artillery pieces will go down. The Longhorn will go down. TheOnlyG made a critical mistake. Both Goliaths low in health could easily be killed and he'll lose his playing chip here. Butcher's going on the Goliaths. A third Goliath was dropped. That's full on HP. Low health Goliath saved. It's a very back and forth right now. It's right now a fight over that middle part of the map. Creeps being dropped on the Goliaths. Honeypot dropped to try to heal them up. Both sides running out of income. TheOnlyG's dropping honeypots to try to keep those Goliaths alive. The honeypots though, they're going to start dying. One goes down. Nyagaton tanking Goliath shots. Those Goliaths are going to start to die. One goes down. Two goes down. There's only one Goliath left. TheOnlyG has to pull it back. Butchers are killed before they can finish and continue doing damage to the Goliath. TheOnlyG is starting to lose power in this dynamic mid. Generator is built to make up for the healing for the Goliaths. Shooters going back to the factory. He did fly over creeps, but Nyagaton did not see him. That Tesla could kill that artillery piece if TheOnlyG doesn't react quickly. Artillery is saved. More damage is going to be poked at. Nyagaton's going to move the Tesla back up. Going to try to kill this Gatling, but has to pull back. Shooter's going to clear this factory out, actually. They're going to set up and they're going to start picking off what they can. Nyagaton has realized that they lost it and will fly over. So those shooters will not live long for this world. Yeah, all three shooters will be killed. as the TheOnlyG is trying to restart this push in the middle. TheOnlyG trying to figure out what they can do. Not a lot of income sitting in the back box right now. Both of them are even army-wise. Nyagaton low in health. They're even army-wise, but most of Nyagaton's stuff is scattered, while TheOnlyG's stuff is all in a central area. Grinder placed on the Tesla to try to kill it. Like a central area other than that Gatling. Grenades from the Helix starting to go over the hill. Grinder still trying to kill those units. Grinder almost goes down to the tank busters. Both sides trying to find an advantage here. TheOnlyG still has the level lead by a fair bit. It doesn't really mean much by this point. They're both in the end times of units, more or less. Nyagaton has just been focusing on tank busters because of the Goliaths. TheOnlyG gets a second Goliath out. Goes with shooters. There isn't many good places left to place them. That Tesla will rip them apart. Single shooter placed there, and single shooters dropped in that middle area. Tesla's too to keep TheOnlyG from pushing forwards. Artillery's pounding that middle area. Nyagaton forced back to the outpost. Turtle from TheOnlyG to stop the army from being pounded by the artillery. It's right in the path of the Tesla, though. He's trying to set it up with a honeypot. We'll keep it. Yeah, I was about to say, setting everything up next to that turtle is not a good idea. A single shooter still back here, but it's not going to do much, really, as it's going to be distracted by creeps mainly. Nyagaton throwing stuff and damage at the turtle to try to kill it. The honeypot isn't healing the turtle, so the turtle will die eventually if not managed. TheOnlyG and Nyagaton now in a stalemate. Neither side knows what to do. Nyagaton has a lot more artillery set up. Nyagaton low in health. Gatling will go down. TheOnlyG up to level 13. Nyagaton hits level 12. Turtle has to be grabbed before it goes down. Artillery pounding the Gatling. Gatling's saved. Honeypot's now healing the turtle. That should be enough to survive, I think. Yeah, from that bombardment, it will keep it sustained. Just barely enough, I'm pretty sure. Bertha has been placed up. Harder hitting artillery piece. Trying to keep that Tesla alive with 2 honeypots. Coming in a little bit of a stalemate. This shooter's still just picking off random units. Does it actually will not kill, because of its placement, it will actually not kill anything. Because they will leave its... Oh, the honeypots died while I was looking away. Artillery piece goes down for the blue side. The red team's starting to have control more. TheOnlyG going for another harassment run on the factory. Does not have the creeps to actually capture it, though. And most of them will die because of the rockets. Yeah, those creeps in that place will not last long. Nyagaton grabbing their own shooters to start harassing TheOnlyG's factory. TheOnlyG kills one group of them. Shooters now pounding this middle area. They actually might kill that tank buster. Yeah, no, that tank buster will die. They're going to start picking at these units. If Nyagaton doesn't deal with them, he's going to lose some fairly important units to his hold. OnlyG drops a Gatly to try to counter the Gatly he saw coming. Low in health, Gatly saved before it goes down. Nyagaton did lose a tank buster for 3 shooters, which I think is actually a fairly good trade in OnlyG's part. Tesla dropped. Gatly does very little damage to it. Oh, Nyagaton has dropped both Gatlys to clear this factory out. OnlyG coming back with the single creep, gonna clear out these Gatlys that were just left to die, more or less. Berthas were moved. Goliath out for Nyagaton, going to be dropped behind the Berthas. OnlyG hasn't come to react. The Bertha will go down. A fairly expensive artillery piece has died. More Gatlys being dropped on this factory. Grinder dropped on the Goliath. Nyagaton might have just thrown away one of the stronger units they have built this game. You know, the Goliath goes down. Honeypot goes down. Both sides dropping units. A lot of sergeants down for Nyagaton to try to capture this. OnlyG with no unit support because the Gatlys shredded them. Nyagaton has to run away as the OnlyG is going to go back to try to deal with this. The Gatly will go down. More units drop to clear this factory out. The OnlyG needs to, while this is happening, at the same time, needs to start sieging this middle again. Needs to actually take the ground. Nyagaton coming with even more sergeants to recapture this factory. OnlyG's low. OnlyG will go down to the Gatly. This is Nyagaton's moment. Moment to strike. Dropping units there to hold that place. There's a single creep back there, but that won't do anything. Nyagaton will secure this base, but a Goliath from OnlyG will be dropped, and that will almost immediately clear it back out. Gatlys do damage to Goliaths, but not a lot. The Goliath is being distracted. It will go down. Dude, why is there so many creeps? Like, oh, OnlyG dies to Nyagaton. Nyagaton is starting to get control, getting back control of this game. Many of the units over here are just sitting, not doing much. That Goliath is low on health. And will actually go down, I think. Yeah, it will go down. The Grinder might also go down. The Grinder will go down. OnlyG's losing a lot of critical units in this hold right now. Down to only one base outside of the main base. OnlyG drops the Bertha, but immediately Nyagaton's gonna go and try to kill it. Goliath dropped to support it. Tank busters dropped up on the high ground. Gonna try to pick off at those units below. Goliath dropped the support. The tank busters were not set up on the ledge, so they're not in a very good position to be firing down at this group. Gatly goes down. Tank busters are shooting at OnlyG. He will go down because of it. Doesn't realize the tank busters are doing that much damage. Goliath go down. The last Bertha goes down, and a Honeypot will all go down. Oh no, wait, the Bertha's still up. Honeypot went down. OnlyG is starting to lose his touch in this game. Tank busters are gonna be dealt with by a Grinder. Nyagaton's able to save them both. Goliath pulled back. Bertha getting healed up. Nyagaton has 2 tank busters over here, not doing much. Realize there, we'll move them back. Nyagaton's gonna try to kill that Grinder as quick as possible. Turn his tank busters back on the main force. Nyagaton is very low, almost goes down. Yeah, 30-minute game. OnlyG moving Goliath and the Bertha up next to each other so the Goliath can carry. Tank busters put up on the hill. Start sieging. Goliath drop. Tank buster right in front. Goliath moved down the And a second Goliath for Nyagaton. This might be the fall of OnlyG's last group of forces. 20,000 in the bank for Nyagaton. Another Goliath dropped. Nyagaton low in health. Goliath, another Goliath by OnlyG is dropped. But there's too much firing on his Goliath. They're both low in health. One goes down. Nyagaton low in health. Goes down to the Bertha. But even though he dies, OnlyG's losing, has lost the entire army to the push. OnlyG trying to work out what they can do. Butcher's coming out, going to be dropped on one of the Goliaths. Gonna try to kill that Goliath. Needs to try to kill some of those tank busters though, because that's mainly what did the damage. Only thing left for OnlyG is Bertha's building Butchers to try to get some damage in. Butchers down for Nyagaton will take out that Gatling. Nyagaton gonna try to go for the Bertha, but it comes back to focus on the base and then falls back. Nyagaton just has to move their forces forwards. There's enough here that they could break through. Nyagaton low in health. OnlyG was firing right behind them, so couldn't finish him off. OnlyG trying to hold, drops the Gatly, but the power station will go down. Rebel tanks, more Gatlys. OnlyG goes down. Nyagaton is now dominating the game, owns all the facilities. OnlyG will throw in the towel, losing the last base on the map. That was actually a nice back and forth. I thought OnlyG was going to have it by a point, but it just didn't work out. Here's the scores. Both of them did fairly good. OnlyG did kill Nyagaton more than Nyagaton killed him, but there was just not much he could do in that time frame to make up for it. It was a very good game, and I'll see you next time.